the shoulders of giants and consider it my duty to keep this legacy alive. A quote by Dr. Adam Ramsey. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Nerdy Optometrist, a podcast channel for all things optometry. And this is your host, Ukti Vora. If you are, already listening to my podcast, or if it is your first time, you will be aware I always like to start my podcast with amazing quotes that reflect the personality or the topic we're discussing about the guest. But today we have a leader, a personality who has coined his own quote. And that's the reason I decided to start this episode with his own quote that inspired so many of us. So, for those who don't know, or those who already know, we are all aware Dr. Adam Ramsey needs no introduction. But just part of the routine that I have to follow the drill, I am going to introduce Dr. Adam Ramsey, our guest for today's podcast. Before we get into the introduction, a huge shout out to my sponsor, Nano Dropper, for supporting, as they have developed the first of its kind eye drop bottle adapter that reduces medication waste and saves money for both eye care professionals as well as the patients. For more, you can find the link in the description. Dr. Adam Ramsey is a board certified optometrist, CEO of Socialite Vision, founder of Health Focus South Florida, and co-founder of Black Eye Perspective. I'm sure some of you have already seen him in all these platforms or some of the platforms. He is definitely a celebrity. Dr. Ramsey also operates 3 satellite locations in South Florida. Yes, while we are all struggling with telehealth, should we add technology? He already has done and dusted this before. Even we got into this, the new technology phase. His practice is highlighting cutting-edge technology, has innovative eye care and optical services. His fondness for community-focused initiatives have made him a sought-after speaker and presenter for both local and national health fairs and career symposium. Professionally, Dr. Ramsey is also a nationally recognized speaker and an advisory board member for Bausch & Lomb, Zeiss, and Alcon, along with numerous others. I'm sure we ever heard him on different platforms. These are just few to highlight. In 2019, Dr. Ramsey headlined a community engagement series entitled Dinner with the Doctor. In his multi-location practice, he specializes not in one, 2, but 3 specialties: myopia control, dry eye, as well as advanced contact lens fitting. I don't know why we are all struggling with one when he can do it all. He also he also serves as the Indian Health Service Director for Optometric Services, providing professional eye care for underserved Native American communities. While this is not enough, he's also been awarded for several things. And just to name a few, he's been awarded in 2018 for Small Business of the Year award from the Chamber of Commerce of Palm Beaches. Again, in 2018, Business of the Year award from Legacy Magazine. In 2020, where we were all struggling, he got award for Eye Care Business Game Changer of the Year and Florida Optometric Association's Outstanding Local Society member. So there's so much to learn from this episode. And a very warm welcome, Dr. Adam Ramsey, to the Nerdy family. And thank you once again for your time.
I'm gonna let you introduce me all the time because you named awesome stuff I forgot about. So I'll let you introduce me all the time.
Absolutely. I did my research. This was just something that I had to really summarize it. If given a choice, I think I could do an entire episode just about your introduction.
We don't need to do all that. Let's get to the episode. Don't talk about all that stuff.
All right. So before we go into all that you have achieved and you've done, I want to know, where did it all start? Was this optometry like an accident in your career, like a beautiful thing which you bumped into? Or were you always aware that you want to be an optometrist?
I was not aware I wanted to be an optometrist. I was born in Trinidad in the Caribbean, and then I grew up in South Florida. And when I was growing up, I wanted to be a vet because I liked animals and I liked, I was good with science and math. So they were like, oh, you should be a vet. But, I liked my animals. I didn't so much like other people's animals. So I was the guy I had parakeets and turtles and hamsters and dogs and the big saltwater fish tanks. And, I had all that stuff. And my animals were behaved. Other people's animals were biting. They weren't good. So I passed on that. And then I went into physical therapy because I'm, 6'3". So people are like, oh, you should look at the physical therapy, this, that, and the other. But I didn't so much like all the paperwork that went along with the physical therapy. So I was like, I can't be sitting down at a computer doing this all day. That doesn't give me the interaction and engaging conversations that my personality likes. So I skipped out of that. And then one day I was at my optometrist. I wear glasses, contacts right now. And the optometrist was talking to one of his partners, and he was like, "You want to go play 9 holes of golf after this? I have a little gap in my day." I was like, I'm sitting there, the door's open. He's talking in the hallway while I'm dilating, and I can just hear him. And I was like, hold on, you could just choose to do what you want to do. Like, just pick up in a day and just say, I don't even play golf. But, I had never played golf at that point, but it wasn't the golf. It was the control of your schedule and control of your day. And that made me say, you know what? I need to look into this. And I like the business of optometry and the marketing and the branding and all the other parts that go into it, combined with the medicine. And that kind of like perked my ears up to it. And I never looked back.
That's wonderful that you overheard some conversation that led you to optometry. I am so glad that you overheard it, because then that's the reason we have you in the eye care community. So good job on that.
I would say that, but I would also point out, like, in that positivity, you also could see that I've been wearing glasses since I was 5. So I've been to dozens of optometrists, right?
Mhm.
And nobody actually invited me into this profession.
Mhm.
Nobody actually extended an olive branch and said, hey, you're a smart kid. You should think about optometry. So I found it because of my own looking. But you got to look at it. There's a lot of other Black and brown students that would come into this profession if somebody would have extended an olive branch and opened their eyes to the profession, because they may not see somebody that looks like them. So they may not even connect the dots that this is a profession for me. So while I was in that chair, think about it, I was already planning to do something in medicine,
Right.
but the vet that I was shadowing was Black. So I connected, the person I took my animals to was Black. So I could see myself in that position. And then somebody else suggested physical therapy to me. And
Mhm.
then I went looking, but nobody actually suggested optometry to me. I found it on my own. But how many more Black and brown students would go into the profession if only somebody actually suggested it to them? And I think that's the part that's missing, that, I'm not an anomaly. There are other Adam Ramseys out there. They're the next generation of Adam Ramseys out there, but they're lacking the olive branch being extended to them. And that part is, sorely lacking and missing in this profession.
Absolutely. And it's so nice that you pointed out, because that's why this particularly is my favorite question, because based on how many people I've introduced so far, everybody has bumped into this profession. They didn't even know this existed, or they didn't even plan. They realized it in some or the other way, and they found this is fantastic. Why didn't I know this before? Why wasn't this my first choice? Unless you come from an eye care family where you are already part of it. But majority of us really bumped into it. I had no idea about optometry. It was my friend who was actually thinking of pursuing optometry. She never did. I overheard about this profession, and then here I am. So it's always something that this is like just somewhere you hear about it, and you were curious enough to dig more about it. But I think that's a great learning for everyone. Please go out and promote optometry, because as he mentioned couple of things already, it's just not the medical part of it. It gives you flexibility, it gives you business, you can do so much more of whatever you like. You can put it in optometry and excel in it. If you want to be an influencer, you can do that. If you want to be an author, you can be that. You can do everything. If that's the flexibility that optometry gives all of us.
I agree.
So you did mention, you started with one practice, but I know you have 3 satellite practices and so much more. So tell us a little more about, your journey of, did you always wish, I want to start my own practice? How was that decision? How was that journey of, starting up uh, such an advanced practice?
Um, I don't work well under other people's direction, so I knew from the beginning that I would rather sink and swim on my own accord. working for somebody else would be very difficult for me. I knew that. I'm an only child. I have that, gung ho, do my own thing kind of personality. So, yeah, that wouldn't work. So I always knew I was going to go into private practice. How that developed, wasn't always sure. That it wasn't really a yellow brick road. There wasn't breadcrumbs laid out. I didn't have any family members in the profession to give me any guidance or anything like that. I didn't know anybody that was an optometrist or related to this in any form or fashion. The first time I saw a Black optometrist was when I was in school. So I don't really have any of those connection points. So I kind of had to figure this out as I go along. That was okay. It wasn't necessarily ideal, but it allowed me to make mistakes, and it's okay. I feel like if you don't fail at something, you haven't tried anything difficult enough.
Mm-hmm.
If you succeed at everything you've done, you really lost out on hitting your ceiling.
Mm.
I mean, like you kept it safe, and I feel like every time I fail or I mess up at something, I know that I was stretching myself to my capacity. And when I've gotten that mindset, it made me not so frustrated with failure or making mistakes or not doing it the right way 100%, because I know I stretch myself. And whenever I succeed without too much effort, I know I left something on the table. So I kind of went into eye care and said, you know what, I'm going to go for it and create something that's different and create a different experience for the patient and try to reimagine eye care. I went to this restaurant about a week or two ago, and it was called like Cuban Fusion, and it was Cuban food with like some flair. And I had my staff there, and we all went, and I tried to take them to different restaurants and give them different exposures. And after it was over, they didn't know that I was trying to teach them a lesson, but I was. And I said, what if we did eye care fusion? What if we did eye care with a flair? What if we decided to give somebody an experience that they've never had before? Because most patients, when we see them, this isn't their first time coming to the eye doctor. But what if we let them walk out with, that was different? That
Mm-hmm.
was a different experience. That wasn't what I expected, and made it memorable and made it unique. So that when they try to go online or when they try to go to the place down the street, they say, well, that was something, but that wasn't what I had at Dr. Ramsey's office. And I kind of twisted their mind up. They thought, oh, I thought you were just taking us to lunch. And I was like, well, there's a lesson to be learned in everything. And so that's kind of what I've been trying to create and keep trying to create in my office. It's never done. Every time I think I'm done, I always come up with something else, and they're like, "Oh crap! What did he get from this conference this time? What is he coming back with now?" He's always, every time you think you got to figure it out, changing it up. And I'm like, "Yeah, that's it. Life. The only thing that's consistent in life is change. So let's switch it up. It's Monday. Let's go."
Oh, that's wonderful. So I definitely want to highlight a couple of learnings that you shared so casually in your conversation. To begin with, you said you always felt you wanted to lead, or like, with leadership. Like when I see from outside, I feel you've got it all. But you proudly talk about your failures, your ups and downs, which I feel everybody is scared of, even to begin, and they want to play safe. But I really like how you highlighted, like, just go out there, fail, have a good story, if nothing else you have something to share.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a great learning for all my listeners. And other thing, how you mentioned to learn from different experiences and different things. It is just out for lunch or dinner, but it does not always have to be like an expensive thing or something you have to invest. It's all about what can I do to make my staff's experience better or my patient's experience better, or even your own experience when you go into your practice. You want to feel happy when you go in. And I think all these challenges really helps to keep you motivated versus, oh yeah, it's the same day, I just go and do my job and be back. So I think always have the fun in the mix is what I think I took as my takeaway from what you shared.
You got it. That's what I meant.
Perfect. And not to, talk about like your learnings and what you do with your staff, you have gone a step ahead and you made sure that whatever were your ups and downs, you shared it with others who are scared or who are not sure where they want to go with your book. So for those who haven't, seen, heard, or read about his book, yes, play chess, not checkers. It is a step-by-step guidelines for opening a successful practice, and it will tell you about, how can you get started with your practice. So tell us about the book, the title as well. Like, where did the title come in? What inspired you to write your book?
So everybody, when I say the book, they're like, "Oh, you love playing checkers and or chess," and I was like, "No, it's not so much. I know how to play, but the concept was that life is like a checkerboard. The checker and chessboard is the same board, the
Mm-hmm.
same size squares. The only difference is chess pieces can move a lot further than checker pieces. And
Right.
there's strategy, and there's a lot more strategy in chess. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times optometrists and opticals are playing checkers, and the big industry is playing chess around them. And they can jump further because they're playing a different game. And the trick to any game is just knowing the rules. If you know the rules to the game, it's fair.
Right.
But the hard part, sometimes big industry is playing chess and we're playing checkers, and they control the rules to the game. And we have to play catch up and learn the rules regularly. But once you know the rules, it's okay. It's all fair. It's all fair game. You just have to know and learn the rules of the game you're actually playing. And a lot of times optometrists are trying to play checkers, and big industry is playing chess. They're buying 5,500 practices. They have thousands of people. They have support staff. They have all kind of stuff. They can buy their glasses in bulk direct from the source and buy it at half the price we're buying it at, and trying to sell it at the same price. Well, that's not a fair game. We're not playing the same game. So I, had a lot of struggles that I posted and put in the book about opening my own office. And I've read all the books out there about optometry, and none of them thoroughly prepared me enough to open my practice. So I said, why don't, I was talking to somebody, and I was like, this should have been in one of the books, man. This wasn't written out. Like, I've read all the books. Like, this wasn't in there. Like, I can learn from other people's mistakes. I don't have to
Right.
make all the mistakes myself. I am happy to learn from your mistakes, but
Right.
nobody told me about those mistakes. And then the person was like, "Well, why don't you write it?" And I was like, "Okay." And I just spent the next year just typing, just typing, writing out some stuff, and then I thought I didn't have enough for a book, and I was talking to somebody that helped me put the book together, and I was like, "Oh, I only have like 30 pages or 40 pages or something like that." And the person was like, "Hold on, you mean like single space word pages?" And I was like, "Yeah." Like, it's like, "Do you know a book is this big and this double spaced and da da da?" And I was like, "No." She's like, "Send it to me." And I sent it to her, and it was 100 pages in a book. And she's like, "Just edit it. You're done." And I was like, "Oh shoot, I didn't even know." Because I just kept going, because sometimes we set a bar and a hill for ourselves that's so high and so hard to reach, you know. And I laughed when I made the book because I I'm terrible at spelling. I am terrible at reading. I did not. Before optometry school, I never read for fun. Like, until I graduated, I had never read for fun. Like, and not, like a kid's book, like reading Black Beauty and Peter Pan. Okay. But I'm talking about actual books
Book.
for fun. You would never catch me doing that, you know? And then I heard somebody said that $1 million ideas are laid to waste in libraries full of $10 books. And people are looking for a mentor and looking for the next idea and the next thing. And somebody already wrote it in a $10 book that you just haven't read. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, well, maybe I'll read the $10 books instead of paying $40,000 for a consultant.
Mm-hmm.
The idea and what I need might be right there in the $10 book. And then I just started reading books, but that all went back to somebody extending the olive branch and saying, "Hey, you should do this and you should do that, and why don't you write a book?" And just somebody else saying it, and just sparked the interest, and just said, "Okay, I wrote it." And then I laughed and I told Mom I'm an author, and she's like, "But you can't spell. How are you an author?" I was like, "That's what spell check and editors are for." And all of that. And I say my shortcomings and I say all the stuff there to tell somebody else, like, It's okay. Like, you can do it. Like, you don't have to let your past obstacles be your future stumbling blocks. You know what I mean? Like, you can fix those things. You can go through those things. And then there's opportunities there. And, I've received dozens of people telling me about the impact the book has had and stuff like that. And I go out and speak, and people come up, and I'm like, people want me to sign their book. And I'm like, but I'm nobody. Like, you guys are asking me to sign. I'm a regular person. Like, even when you're talking about me and you're saying stuff about me, and I'm like, y'all know I got regular bills and I'm a regular person. Like, I have an office, and I'm struggling with staff and equipment and insurance and all the same crap that everybody else is dealing with. It's just, I'm choosing to overcome those things and not let that hold me down and let that be my concern, because I'm in private practice. I'm in business. It's a business. It's supposed to be difficult. There's no part of anything that's going to be easy or given to you or handed to you. That's the business we're in. There's a business side to this profession. I think sometimes optometrists really miss that part.
Right.
In that they expect the industry to make it easy. They're competing against us. They're not competing for us. That's
Right.
not their job. Like, the insurance industry's job is not to make us rich. It's to make themselves rich.
Right.
Like, it isn't like, how come I can't make any money on this insurance plan? They're not trying to make you make any money. Like, they're trying to make money for themselves. Like, they want to pay you as little as possible. If you would do it for free, they wouldn't pay you at all. Like, that is the lowest they think you'll accept. And every single time they make it $1 lower. And if you don't say anything, that's what it is. Like,
Right.
there's nothing else. It's all about us trying to decide on what we accept and what is okay for us, and working our way through this thing called business and life, and saying, what can I do best for my patient, and be the advocate for them, and making sure that we're being fair to ourselves and our families and our staff.
Absolutely. And I think you did point out again, like some amazing learnings is, we're all trying to do something, or someone would suggest, but we'll forget about it thinking I'm not good enough. But, when someone told you about writing a book, it stuck with you and you decided to take action. I think taking action is everybody's struggle. Whether you're good or bad you would not know till you try it out. So I feel even if, there was one book sold and say one person got helped with it, I think we're all very focused at the end result of, I want to be like number one seller, I want to make millions of dollars. Instead of that, if you would have focused on the process like you did, that hey, I have made my mistakes, use them, learn from it, and you make your own new ones. Don't repeat the ones which I can already talk about. I think that's a great learning for anyone. Just start. It's okay if it doesn't work, but it's definitely a learning. And don't just rely on shortcomings of I can't spell, or I can't do something, I can't even write a sentence, I haven't even read a book, how can I write a book? All these are good excuses, but let's focus on, if I enjoy, let me just do it. If not for others, for your own self. So you did mention about that book, right? So for those who haven't seen or they're not aware about the book, again, I'll be dropping the link for this book in the description, so you can please do check it out. But if you had to pick, like, the major takeaways from your book, if you wanted to highlight something, what would that be?
Well, this book is about teaching people how to open warm, right? So instead of being a cold start, try to open warm. But before you even decide to open warm, make sure you want to go into this profession and this practice, this mode of practice, and find out if private practice is what you want. You don't have to always open warm. And I would tell you, if you can buy a practice, try and buy one, right? If you can become a partner in a practice, go that route, because you're jumping steps ahead.
Right.
Opening up warm is you have to start on first base. If you buy a practice or you become a partner, you're on second or third base already.
Right.
You're going right into the money. But if it doesn't work, like it didn't work in my instance, there wasn't anything for sale in the area that I wanted to be in at the time. And my mind has changed now. If you ask me 7 years later, do I agree with the decisions I made then? I'd probably say no, but I made the best decision with the information I had at the time. But because I know that it was the best decision at that time, I don't have really any regrets. And I don't really have, when the going got tough, I was like, well, Adam, this was your only choice. You can't be an employee to somebody. So like you don't have a choice. So because that, I was comfortable with the issues and the hill to climb later on. But if you open a practice warm and then you find out you could have bought the guy down the street, but you never asked them,
Mm.
or you could have been a partner with your friend that he was looking for a partner, but didn't know you were even looking to come into private practice, and you missed that opportunity because you never explored it, then you might second guess yourself or have regret. But if you asked everybody around, nobody wanted a partner, you asked everybody around and nobody wanted to sell, then when you open your practice, it's like, hey, I didn't have a choice. I'm here and I'm going to make the best of this situation and I'm going to love it. And later on, you still get to the same endpoint. It's just takes a little bit more work. And if you know that this is the only way to go about what you wanted and to develop the outcome that you're looking for, then in those rough and dark times and those hard months and weeks and those second guessing, you can give her a little reminder like, okay, Adam, you didn't have a choice. It's
Mhm.
okay. We're here. We're going to get through it. And then after this, you're happy at the outcome.
Absolutely. So do your research and then make a decision so that you don't have to regret at the later stage. Perfect. And I think it's not just for practice, for anything, even getting into the profession or anything you want to do spend some time in doing good research. So you have, checked box everything, reached out to people, and then made a more informed decision. And I think that's something which, we all should always remember. We know about it, but, sometimes we just forget when it comes to making decisions. Now, moving a little away from the practice, you do have several other initiatives, and you do contribute back to the community because you do understand the gaps there. You also briefly, mentioned about it. There's so much that needs to be done that we are not really representing or doing our bit. And one of your initiative is the Black Eye Perspective that you have worked so hard on, where you are a co-founder. Can you tell us about that whole idea and what all you've done, what all you've achieved? Because I know it has achieved a lot.
So, even when you say we achieve a lot, I feel like our goals and aspirations are so big. So
Absolutely.
it may be, and we've done quite a bit, which I'm happy about. But
Mhm.
I have sometimes unrealistic expectations. You could ask my wife, you can ask my staff. So I rather shoot for the stars,
Mhm.
and if I only hit the moon, then that was it. That's fine. So we're trying to change the color of eye care and get more minorities into this profession and let more minorities know about the profession, because I really think it's just an awareness issue that
Mhm.
we have, and everybody would tell you they don't hear about or know about optometry until the end. And it's like they're sitting and they go to their optometrist, but very few of the optometrists even suggest optometry to their patients. And sometimes I try to figure out, is it that some optometrists are unhappy with their own choice, so
Mhm.
they never really recommend it to others? Because if you ask optometrists, um, would you recommend this to your child? And sometimes they would say no. So I think it's more of an awareness of the profession that we're working on. So we have a few initiatives called 13% Promise. Currently, when we started, we were at 3% of African Americans in the profession for the last 10 years. I'm happy to announce that we are now at 5%. So the
Mhm.
number was at stagnant before our Black Eye Care Perspective started. And now we went from 3% to 4% to now at 5% of incoming students being Black and African American, which I'm super excited about. And we're doing a lot of things to go to historically Black colleges and universities. We have the first nationwide pre-optometry club of any of any race or gender. We're the only one that's nationwide. Everybody else was per school.
Mhm.
So we're reaching the students. We're getting them into the organization and trying to help change the color of the eye care profession 1% at a time. So I have a co-founder with Dr. Derek Glover,
Mhm.
and that's been a wonderful addition and partnership there. And I have some great other board members, Dr. Essence Johnson, Dr. Jacoby Cleaver, and Dr. Tiffany Humes, that have helped along the way, along with numerous other optometrists that are in the organization that answer the bell when we call and we need different initiatives. So It's been a wonderful thing, and we have so much more to go, but I'm happy with what we've done already.
Absolutely. Good luck. And first of all, congratulations. Before even I go to good luck, congratulations for having that growth from 3% to 5%, which is huge. It might, for some people, it's always somewhere in someone to start. And as you mentioned, it was stagnant before that. So that's a huge achievement. With all the activities that I have seen you doing, educating the students at school level. So they're already aware about this profession. I think that's a great initiative that you and Dr. Darrell Grover, along with the entire team, is taking and helping everybody to be more inclusive into this profession. Thank you once again for, carving your time out along with all the practices and every other thing you do. This is huge for everyone to think about inclusivity, how to, work on the areas which are minority and add more and more people in optometry and eye care for sure. All right, so we did talk a lot about your initiatives, your work, but now we're going to jump into my fun game segment where we would like to know more about you as a person and not the optometrist, Dr. Adam Ramsey, that we know. So we're going to dive and learn a little more about you. So are you ready for the rapid fire round?
Sure.
Awesome. So to begin with, tell us about your favorite destination.
Trinidad. I love to go home. So if I can pick one place, Trinidad.
Wonderful. Tell us about your hobby or something that you do during your downtime.
I like cigars and scotch. So
Wonderful. So people know what to gift you.
yeah, cigars and scotch.
Wonderful. One thing, I don't know if you have any other answer, but we'll see. One thing about you that people don't know.
I'm a car guy.
Oh, you're a car guy.
I like cars.
I think that's also a reason why you have been shooting your reels and like things on your car in your car, right?
Yes.
Wonderful. And he has some very fun content while he's driving or while he's parked. So do check it out for sure on his social media. Your favorite cuisine?
Curry.
Curry.
From the Caribbean though. Indian curry is different. I like it, but naan and roti is not the same thing. But I would eat both, but curry.
Got it. All right. And if you were to interview a guest, dead or alive, anyone, who would that be and what would the question be?
I would interview Obama. He stuck his neck out there, and the cross he had to carry and bear. I would love to know what went through his mind, because some of us think he didn't go far enough, but I'm sure there was some restrictions on what he could do, and I would love to interview him.
Love it.
Not for everybody, just so that I could ask some questions.
Wonderful. If we were to write an autobiography about your journey, what would you like the title to be?
Delayed reward is not denial of reward.
Love it. All right. One thing that you would like to change or add in the eye care industry, what would that be?
Get people to understand that you can talk about race without being a racist.
All right. Lovely. And I think with the Black eye care perspective, I will all will learn, how to do that and, be more inclusive. With that, you did wonderful in our rapid fire round. Thank you once again for all these fun answers. We definitely know what to gift you and what you like. So with that, before I let you go, one last takeaway message for all my listeners.
Don't be afraid to fail. It's okay. Try, go for it, shoot for the stars. If you only hit the moon, you're still up in the solar system. So go for something, be different, be bold, go where people are not going, do something people aren't doing, and you'll still make a difference no matter what.
Love it. I really love this one line that you said, like, always shoot for the stars, you'll still be in the solar system. And I think that's wonderful. We always limit ourselves. And I think with all what you have done and said, you really come across as like, I've done nothing, I'm a normal guy. But from me as an outsider, you are a star. So you definitely did, done something really interesting, nice for the community, which, is always inspiring and learning for all of us. For all those who would like to learn more about the book, I'll be adding the link in the description. Please do follow Dr. Adam Ramsey on his platforms, because you'll always be learning something new in some fun and interesting way. A huge shout out to my sponsor, Nano Dropper, for supporting this episode. And don't forget to follow Nerdy Optometrist on your favorite platform. With that, thank you so much, Dr. Adam, for your time. And it's a pleasure to have you into our Nerdy family.
Thank you for having me.